Thank you, greetings, thank you, Joy, thank you, Oron, thank you for tuning in. I will be broadcast live on my YouTube and on my Facebook. So either way, you should be able to get me live. I want to take a moment to thank all of you that are tuned in this this evening or the afternoon, depending on what time you have in your locations. Fellow brothers, if you're here in the United States, thank you for tuning in. If you are in La Republique, I want to take a moment to thank you for tuning in. If you are in Europe, if wherever you are, I am going to be talking about the Southern Cameroon exit and the British exit. So it is going to be a very interesting topic to talk about. I want to take a moment to thank all of you that are tuned in this evening, or it might be night, at your own location. Here again, my name is Fonton Daniel. I want to take a moment to thank all of you that are tuned in this afternoon or this evening, depending on the time of your locations. Thank you so much for joining in from ground zero. It is quite amazing to have all of you that are tuned in. Here again, my name is Fonton Daniel. There is an interesting questions that we have had, and many people haven't got the answer yet, but then we're gonna talk about it. The people of Southern Cameroon, why us? Why the people of Southern Cameroon? And we will start, first of all, we will listen to the British Prime Minister. Then we look at the relationship that exists between the people of Southern Cameroon and the rest of the world. And partly you all too should be part of the contributions. Fellow brothers, sisters, here is Fonton Daniel again here in. Let's listen to the Prime Minister of Britain speaking, defending the British government authority over the British exit.
A Brexit agreement that worked for both sides was an impossible task. From the start, I rejected that counsel of despair and set about negotiating a deal that worked for the UK and the EU, one that delivered on the result of the referendum and set us on course for a prosperous future, while maintaining a close relationship with our friends and neighbours. Thanks to the hard work of both sets of negotiators, that is what we have today agreed.
Good deal, sad deal, not the deal itself, but the Brexit is a sad moment for the European Union, and I want to say for Britain too. Future is will prove.
You all listened to the messages. You all listened. But the question is, if the British government has the authority to debate whether they should leave the European Union, if the British authority can have the legal right to question their relationship with the European Union, obviously, the question now boils on to the people of Southern Cameroon. Does the people of Southern Cameroon has the right, the legal authority to question the relationship they do have with the neighboring country, La Republique du Cameroon? Obviously, you will agree with me that the people of Southern Cameroon was never a conquered territory of La Republique. The people of Southern Cameroon was never a colonial territory of La Republique. So the citizens of the Southern Cameroon has the legal authority to question La Republique. What relationship do we share together? What are we? Who are you to us, the people of Southern Cameroon? Imagine, because they have the weapons, they have the guns, and that they can shoot at us, and that we have no prerogative question to ask them, what mandate do they have over the people of Southern Cameroon? You all will agree with me today, this Sunday, that the people of Southern Cameroon are being shot indiscriminately. I felt in pain when I see a fellow nurse, who's supposed to provide healthcare assistance to the daughters, to the children of the people of Southern Cameroon. but was shot dead by a neighboring country, La Republique du Cameroon. We are in a world that is filled with corruption individuals. We are in a world that is corrupted. We are in a world that has failed to acknowledge factual information, to acknowledge the reality, has acknowledged that in an environment where there is inconsistency, the world needs to turn and acknowledge the truth. But unfortunately, in an environment, in this world that we believe is a safe environment, but we are being led by the most corrupted officials. As you can see, the British Prime Minister debating the British exit from the European Union, and yet our people have no legal authority to debate whether they can exit with La Republique. Instead, the cabinet of the people of Southern Cameroon, imagine is a year, Seseko and his cabinet are in jail in neighboring country, La Republique, and the world just remains silent. I mean, it is quite amazing that even our own landed individuals that happen to have studied here in the United States and elsewhere around the world has behaved as equally as they were trained by the La Republique, despite the extensive education and knowledge. I can imagine when I was in a class here in the United States, I was taking an English language and English 1301. The professor asked me that I have to listen to the video of Martin Luther King. The importance of listening to the video of Martin Luther King is to give me the inspiration and the privilege that the people here in the United States fought for freedom. But yet they're still fighting for the freedom. And many of you may have attended school here in the United States. I don't know about those in the UK, those in Europe. You must have listened to one of these messages by the King, Martin Luther King, the freedom fighter here in the United States. Despite the extensive education that we have had, we are medical professions in these nations. We are in a different area of our professions. We have listened, but we decided, choose not to pay attention on the Southern Cameroon, the place where we were born, the place we call home, the place we believe that we may have migrated. It depends on what level you came. But however, when it comes to the privilege, you all know the death toll that is rising in Southern Cameroon. The murder rate by La Republique that is perpetrated on our citizens. And we have our own landed members, and that they're here in these nations. They have studied, they have understood. But when it comes to the moment, when it comes to the spirit of fighting injustice in La Republique, fighting freedom in La Republique, many of you stay a deaf ear. You may stand on the side and say, I love the work you do. Listen to Martin Luther King. This is one person that I admire. I admire because when I was in that English 1301 class, that in my preparations, I didn't know why I was asked to watch a video of Martin Luther King. I've read more about him, but I've never listened to him. And when the spirit that prompted me to listen to Martin Luther King, that is fighting for the freedom, while we are here, I am so proud to be in this wonderful nation on earth. But I understand the suffering many people have suffered before. But yet, today, his life has paid for the opportunity for me to be in these wonderful nations. And we call liberty. But many of you, despite the fact that you have listened, but you haven't paid attention what is going on. Many of you are professors in the university. Many of you are teaching. Many of you have paid no close attention. Bring the topic within your students and tell them, this is what I came from. I am proud, even in my workplace. They know where I came from. They know where I was grown. And some of them listen to my informations. But many of you are professors that you are listening. You are watching. You are professors in the various universities. But you haven't called attention. Where you work, that is where you have to plant the souls of the liberty of the people of Southern Cameroon. But yet, you haven't. Let's listen to one of the most brilliant persons. He didn't live up to his life. He got his doctorate degree. He was at the height of his level. He should have just stayed quiet and enjoyed the benefit of his education. But he stood for you and I to be in these wonderful great nations. But our brothers and sisters, and the images that come from Southern Cameroon, that is perpetrated by La Republique, you all remain silent. Let's listen to one of the most brilliant persons in this planet.
Is be true to what you say on paper. If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right. And so just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. All we say to America.
Fellow brothers and sisters, when I listen to this message, tears runs out of my eye. It runs out of my eye because of the painful feeling. You all know Honorable Weber. He stood in the La Republique Parliament. He couldn't be allowed to speak up. He couldn't be allowed to speak up because they have the whole control is made up of La Republique machineries, because we are the slave in our own territory, place where we don't have a home. We have a place where we all been engaged in a slavery. Martin Luther King is speaking about freedom of press, freedom of assembly, freedom to question the existing authority. But in Southern Cameroon, the people of Southern Cameroon either use guns to destroy them, and use it because they have no liberty and freedom. But because we grew up with the British system of government, and they misconstrue our freedom. Imagine the British Prime Minister, the British government. Imagine the vote that was initiated at the United Nations. The British government didn't trust us. Instead, the British government trusts the Francophone and take our document on our behalf and hand over to La Republique and ignore the people of Southern Cameroon, the sons and daughters. And now our people are the suffering. Imagine the liberty that is persisting in the French. Why our people are living in the forest, murdering each day and slaughtering them. Because the British injustice that they have prevailed, and yet we have to stay and calm. We have all the liberty and education. I can imagine how many Southern Cameroon that are physically here in the United States alone. If all the Southern Cameroon physically here in the United States stand together and say no to La Republique, I mean, in the next day, La Republique will pack its luggages. But yet, we turn a blind eye. Even though we have well-educated, all in the highest university, we don't see it. We stand to lecture on behalf of other individuals, but we have our own personal issues that is languishing, and that we can never even say it or speak about it, even in our respective area of job. We even ignore to speak up. We even ignore to tell them what is going on. Remember that the person you might be speaking about Southern Cameroon, the brother is a relative to the U.S. Congress. Remember that the person that you might be speaking to is a member of the White House. Remember, we are physical here in the United States, the most greatest nation on this planet. But yet we haven't done anything much as we can to accomplish our freedom and liberty. Remember that the person that is close to you is a relative to the U.S. Congress. Remember that the person is close to you is a relative to the defense minister. Remember that the person that is close to you is a relative to the general of the United States. Imagine they may not be able to visualize what is happening, given the global world incident, but your message, because you are attached to the brother whom you are working together, can make a difference. Imagine how many people of our Southern Cameroon must be murdered, and then we can have the attention of the world. Our people are not fighting for, we are fighting for a genuine injustice that is perpetrated in our world. And yet we don't want to stand and talk about it. It is a naive for us to stand and even mention about it. And you're often been regarded as someone that is mentally deranged. But unfortunately, the truth is that how many homes must be burned in Southern Cameroon? How many property must be damaged by La Republique terrorist government in Southern Cameroon? You will agree with me that the spirit of nationalism, the spirit of self-determination, the spirit of living as independent nations is a privilege that we must enjoy. Imagine that if the British government is debating the condition they must live together with the European Union, how more about the people of Southern Cameroon? How more about the people of Southern Cameroon? The people of Southern Cameroon also need to debate on what condition must we have to live with the neighboring country, La Republique of Cameroon. On what conditions? If actually we have to. There must be a technical decision between the people of Southern Cameroon and the neighboring country, La Republique. But yet our spirit, we have how many people here in the United States? Well intelligent. I am not talking about those in Britain. I am not talking about those in Canada. I am